Was good, y'all. One of the things I love about the NBA is there are so many different ways you could play the game of basketball and still be a super highly impactful player. Obviously, everyone has their own favorites. Some people love the score first guys, some people like the playmaking bigs, some people like rim protectors. I personally love defenders. Watching a elite level defender, it's one of the best things I can do. And as a fan of defense, it has been great to see this influx of high level young defenders coming into the NBA. I don't have numbers to back it up really, but it seems like the last 3 or 4 years there have just been a lot of really high level defenders in these drafts. So in today's video, I wanted to highlight some of these up and coming young defenders and talk about some of my favorite ones to watch. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. I'm coming out with great NBA videos throughout the whole season, the playoffs, the off season. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's just jump into my first guy I want to highlight, and that is Amen Thompson of the Houston Rockets. After an impactful rookie season, Amen has done nothing but improve in his sophomore year. He's averaging over a full steal per game as well as over a full block per game at 6'7". He's one of the most versatile and greatest defensive playmakers in the NBA right now. Being 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, Amen is best guarding 1 through 3. He could guard some 4s depending on the matchup, but he really is best out over on those perimeter guys. He's got a pretty wiry frame and is one of the most athletic guys in the NBA. I'd actually go on record saying he is the most athletic player in the NBA when you combine his speed, his acceleration, his lateral quickness, his jumping ability, his strength. Literally all the aspects of athleticism Amen seems to be elite at. And I think that explosiveness along with his basketball IQ is what makes him one of the best defensive playmakers, whether that's pickpocketing someone and forcing the transition or jumping, getting a deflection through the passing lanes. His quick twitch jumping ability allows him to really get some blocks that I don't think many players in the NBA can. Just last night against the Memphis Grizzlies, he was guarding Ja Morant. He did a quick stop, went to float it over Amen, and Amen just rose above and sent it back. The Rockets were able to get out in transition, get an easy bucket like that. He's also an incredible help defender where he'll come rotate and protect the rim, chase down blocks. As you guys see, I'm a pretty big Şengün fan, but honestly, Amen has quickly rose and one of my favorite players on the Rockets. I really love the potential that he has, and then when you look at just today, he is a super impactful NBA player, and I know that's just going to skyrocket as the years go on. Another one of my favorite young defenders, and honestly one of the most underrated defenders if you ask me, is Jeremy Sochan of the Spurs. In year 3, at just 21 years old, Jeremy has really shown his impact on the defensive end next to Victor Wembanyama. Like Amen, Jeremy is super versatile defensively. I would even argue that he's more versatile than Amen because of his big body. He's 6'8", so taller, as well as 230, where he's stocky. He's got that strength on him too, and of course he has the long arms, having a 7-foot wingspan. He honestly, I'm very confident in him guarding 1 through 4, maybe even 5s at some time depending on the matchup. Like I've seen on Christmas Day, Jeremy Sochan went into MSG, guarded Jalen Brunson one possession, the next possession he got switched on to Cat and did his thing. You know, he is a super versatile defender. He's great at keeping the ball in front of him and making you really work. He's very disciplined where he won't really jump at all. He'll use his length to his advantage and just make it hell. And I'm pretty sure I've said it before on the channel, but I think the Jeremy Sochan point guard experiment has really made a lot of NBA fans think he's not an impactful player, when that's just not the case. Like I said, defensively, I think he's been absolutely incredible at this season and even in years past. But also, now that he's back at his true position of a power forward, offensively, he looks way better. His chemistry with Vic is very good. But I won't get too far into that because this is a defensive-oriented video. I had to bring up Jeremy, though. He's one of my favorite defenders to watch. Moving away from the versatile wings, you can't talk about young defenders without bringing up the league leader in steals, and that is, of course, Dyson Daniels. Being 6'8" at the point guard position with a 6'11" wingspan, it's one of the best tools you could have as a guard defender. Dyson's averaging 3.1 steals per game as well as 0.9 blocks per game. He leads the Hawks in defensive rating. I mentioned before, Amen Thompson, I called him a defensive playmaker. Jeremy Sochan, I called him a ball stopper. Dyson is a great combination of the two because when he's guarding the ball handler, he does a very good job at using his length and his quickness and athleticism to keep the ball in front of him, but he is also one of the best ball hawks in the NBA, whether that's pickpocketing or going through and intercepting passes in the passing lanes. He leads the league by a mile in deflections. He is just super active on the defensive end. I remember earlier in the season, the Hawks had a stretch where they were looking really, really good, and Dyson was just shutting down the opposing ball handlers on the other end. He shut down Donovan Mitchell and then had like 3 or 4 steals versus the Boston Celtics, made Jalen Brunson really suffer. He had a great stretch of defense, and that's still continuing to this day. I was super, super high on Dyson Daniels, and I loved when he got traded to the Atlanta Hawks because I really felt like this situation would allow him to blossom into the player I saw him as. I didn't even expect this, though. Like, leading the league in steals and being one of the best perimeter defenders. You blew me away with this one, Dyson. And while we're on the topic of guards, another one of my favorite guard defenders in the NBA right now is Cason Wallace. And one of the cool things about Cason is he's only 6'4", which is about average for guards in the NBA nowadays. 6'9" wingspan, so, he's got lengthy arms, but nothing too crazy. When you compare him to the rest of the defenders I've been talking about in this video, Amen Thompson 6'7", Jeremy Sohan 6'8", Dyson Daniels 6'8", all of them having near 7-foot wingspans or more. Cason doesn't really have that. His physical tools don't come with size, but in his physicality and his strength, he's one of the most physical small guard defenders in the NBA. When you talk about ball stoppers, he is exactly that. He's great at keeping the defender in front of him. Also, screen navigation, he's one of the best at getting over, under, swooping around those screens, really getting around them, keeping his guy in front of him. And then, of course, when you play for OKC, you're going to be great at causing those turnovers, whether that's for going and rotating over for the double team, or just poking it away, passing lanes, all that. OKC loves to really wreak havoc like that, and Cason Wallace is a super big proponent in that. I feel like I could really go on and on and on about young defenders in the NBA right now, like Asar Thompson, Amen's twin brother. He's been kind of held off the court because of health issues, but when he's on the court, he has a lot of those same attributes as Amen, being super athletic with the high basketball IQ, just seems to be in the right position at the right time, making plays defensively. He's one of my favorites to watch as well. Bilal Coulibaly is in that same kind of situation too. It's kind of hard to see his defensive impact on a team like Washington, considering there's not many other defenders on that team, but he still is super athletic and a great defensive playmaker as well. And then, of course, you have this rookie class, which seems to be shaping up to have a lot of great defenders like Orion Dunn, Jalen Wells, Stephon Castle, Ron Holland as well, great perimeter defenders. And then also, I have been focusing specifically on perimeter defenders in the NBA, but we have loads of great up-and-coming rim protectors as well, like Victor Wembanyama, who might go down as the greatest rim protector at this point. Like, he's doing incredible things. Of course, Alex Sarr, his French brother, Donovan Clingan, Chet Holmgren, Walker Kessler, you can even throw in there too, even though he's a little bit older than some of these guys. The league is in great hands defensively when you really look at it, and I love that because the fake narrative that the NBA doesn't play defense anymore, we could really shut that up by really just showing the talent that some of these guys have, because, man, I love watching them play defense. Let me know in the comments below who some of your favorite young defenders are. I'm really interested to see some of these names because I am sure I forgot some of them, so let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those so you keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.